All right, I'm live again. Let's see if we have anybody hop into the room. Not, then I'll just talk for a bit. Live chat visible. All messages are visible. Remember. Let's see. Video is needed to highlight. Since I ain't that popular, I guess we'll just talk. When it comes to, I guess, dating, as for being black and specifically me, um, it's difficult, especially since you want to be with a black female. But nowadays, damn near, I would say over 95% of black females are either bisexual or straight up just lesbians. And so, majority of the times, you'll constantly see them in either wolf packs or pairs. So, in a day and age where a lot of black females are considered bisexual now, it's like, are these two lesbians? Are they just friends? It's hard to determine now because some can be straight up lesbians and they'll somewhat outright show it, or they can be lesbians but pretend to be friends. And it's like, what is it? And so, as for either approaching nowadays, and it sucks. This is what really sucks when it comes to black females. I've kind of learned this throughout my years and thinking back in the high school days. I went to several different high schools. When I went to a more multicultural high school, as they would call it, but it was literally more of a white high school, basically less people that looked like me that were black, but you had more either white people or the buffer class white, which would be Mexican, Asian, all the other, but multicultural schools. I noticed in those schools, females and the very few black females in those schools were braver and trying to outright and let the dude know that they're interested. They'll either verbally say it or they'll do a whole bunch of little things that will say, hey, I'm interested in you. Come talk to me. Blah, blah, blah. But when I went to a black high school, which I don't care what high schools I'm going to name off, one was El Camino. If you already heard what state I went to, then y'all can kind of pinpoint. Of course, there's very different El Caminos out there. And then the other was Foothill. So when I went to the Foothill, and now I don't know what Foothill is, it may not be a black high school no more, is because of the gentrification. And then, of course, a lot of black people are leaving California due to the racism, the high racism with the Mexicans against us, all groups against us. And so it's a whole bunch of different things. I said it in my other videos, what's going on in California, and that's why you're slowly seeing numbers uh, shrink, the size of our population shrink out there. But and then even the divestors, the ones who be all saying that they're wanting to go with other racial groups and doing all this and doing all that. It's funny because some of them are even leaving too to go to other black locations so then they can front and do all this I'm a divester type shit, when we know in truth that you'll rather be around your own group, because once you're finally by yourself in a whole nother group, the protection system is not so guaranteed for you, and especially over their own racial group of women. Yeah. So that's why some are smart, but I still call them dumb, because then if you're going, why keep going into a group that you keep on denouncing and not wanting to be with? Fucking get away from our group. Go back over the fence. And we know why you won't. But anyway, when I went to a all black school, or a predominantly black school, kind of predominantly black, I can't say for sure, but it was more black people than the other. I noticed when it came to females out there, especially the black ones, they were very hesitant and then telling you that they're interested. They didn't tell you, they didn't show you. They kind of just pounced around or act like they didn't care or didn't like you. And then they'll finally then reveal it maybe once you're graduating and leaving the school. And it's like, bitch, why are you now saying this? It's been all that time. You could have said something, but now you're waiting until I graduate or leave, or you'll wait until eventually one girl in the school then eventually says, oh, I'm interested. And so then the moment I get with that, and then all of a sudden they see romantic interest, or all of a sudden they want to then tell you, oh, now I'm interested. It's like, you knew me before this girl, and all that time you did not show or say, or at least outright and let me know why. And now you mention it once I with a get with a female. It's like, back then for me it would have been like, no, I'm not. You lucked out. You had all that time. I knew you before this person, and you waited till then, once I got with that person, to then say some stuff. Nah. So it's basically the same situation in society. I see a lot of black females where, not a lot, but a few, the ones that still like black men, how rare that is, and the ones that don't go after the typical, the either the attractive, the thuglicious, or the ones who got tons of money, just the average black man, or the lame, the ugly, the boring type black dude, or the ones they consider broke black dudes. Um, I don't see them either doing that same type of thing for those groups, or for us, outside of the ones that I named, the three that they'll typically go for and then typically complain about, and then become the bastard single mother or this and that, and thus instill a whole bunch of more issues and trauma within black children, that'll end up growing up and having more issues and blah blah blah, and thus continuing the cycle of destruction of black society. As for black family, there is none. I've seen something on Shoulder King's little post of saying a family photo, and it looked like a bunch of black women and two little black boys. Like, how the fuck? And even with the New York thing, where they made a black woman statue, a fat black woman statue, and supposedly I heard that it was to combat the white men statue. Why would you make a black woman statue so what is that saying? That you don't consider your man as your forefront for protection, and you wouldn't put him, and then you're gonna put that image of yourselves, a fat woman, up there? Like, what is going into like I said back then, this is years ago, and I didn't say this on YouTube. I was like, it's gonna get to a point where black females are gonna become batshit crazy where now they can't blame anything on black men now because black men are just ghosting. They're no longer dealing with it and say, fuck, let our society, let our group fade out. We're good. Y'all are just outrageous. And the only black men who would then go with them are the ones that, of course, what they're currently going for. The hoodlums, the ones that don't give a fuck, are the rich black dudes who can get any one of y'all whenever they want because that's all you care about, money. And as for when you think of good black man, your terms of good black man is something that has money, that looks great, and is doing all these things, and not looking at the person that is seeing if they are willing to build a family with you, take care of the family, provide for that family, even if they're not rich. Think about our ancestors, for those who are black American who are listening to this, our ancestors who didn't have all this money, were in detrimental times, but because they chose men who would care for the family, they grew up almost intact, or better intact than what we are currently. So it's like, what the fuck? But anyway, when it going back to the whole dating thing, is that's what I've noticed, and it's like with black females, they'll either not let on that they're interested in you, they'll ignore you, they'll do these little things that's not saying I'm outright interested in you, I want to get with you. And there'll be very few that may do those things, but the ones that supposedly take interest, and it's like all you have to do is show a dude a choosing sign. I said this before, a choosing sign is a simple eye contact. And for females, black females, you need to do eye contact, maybe a smile. If you fucking say that, oh, I have some type of disability where I just don't smile, or autism that I can't smile, motherfucker, wave. Eye contact and a wave. If you got a resting bitch face, eye contact and a wave. And a look like I want to talk to you, wave, or go over or something. These are simple choosing signs that I notice as for me, that black females don't do. They don't do unless they're the pretty boys, the very attractive boys, or the rich dudes who are balling with some money. Then they trying to flaunt this stuff and do all those things that they would typically do, or there's some other racial group. Then they'll go out and about and do all types of stuff. So it's like, come on now. And then when it comes to, like, I don't know, when it's pretty much you trying to get to a point where you're trying to approach or talk, because cold approaching is difficult as fuck. And I know females don't give a fuck if we have whatever, because they think of us as robots, and thus they don't take in consideration of how many rejections someone would go through. So it's easier and better if you were to show some type of choosing sign in order for that dude to then be able to then talk or communicate with you. So it doesn't make any sense for you to do said, you know, said non-choosing signs, or son neglecting whatever things. What else? And ultimately, black females, if you got a friend and all of a sudden you're seeing a dude that you're interested in, it's best to then try to separate yourself temporarily or for some time to then give this dude the chance to maybe approach. And if you're interested in that dude, or you want that dude to talk to you, give eye contact, wave. Don't fucking just look elsewhere and not look at them or notice them, and then at the end walk off and be like, well, it's his bad. He had all that time. I was walking around, kind of being around in the area waiting for him to talk. No, motherfuckers, you people can be in your area and not want to talk to you. So the best way to then show that you want to communicate or you want to be with said individual is then look at them, wave, whatnot, give some type of greeting that says, hey, come talk to me. And not if you're walking, especially if you're walking, hell, if you stop and then you wave and you look at them and whatnot, then okay, that means you're not going to continue